Hello YouTube, this is my 4 wins, no draws, 2 losses deck profile that I went with at the locals last weekend. Again, this is my first time playing Sky Strikers at my locals, so I had no idea what I was going to go up against. It's been a while since I've actually been at my locals, so I didn't know what the meta was like over there. So I just went in with my deck. If you haven't seen my other deck profile, I do suggest you go watch it because it'll explain a lot of things I've changed in this deck since I went to the locals. Again, I actually did better than I thought I would. I thought I'd just gone X6 and ended up just losing every single game because I was really nervous in terms of making plays and making sure I did the right play. But I think at the end of the day, it went okay. Stick around till the end of the deck profile where I'll be going through some of my matchups, some interesting interactions I had, and what decks I actually played against. Okay, so let's get into it. So 3 rays, I don't think this will ever change. 3 rays is amazing. 2 rows, I was thinking about cutting down to 1, but 2 is great. Always want to see one or the other. You definitely want to see Ray. You don't want to see as much of Rose. The 3 Widow Anchors, amazing card. Always want to see it. 2 Shark Cannons. Now I played 2 of the Afterburners, but this meta I genuinely think there's a lot more going on in the graveyard. People are banishing things. People are sending things to a graveyard, so I think Shark Cannon is really good. And also a lot of people are playing tuners and they're playing things that you can just steal and use for yourself, so it's pretty good in this way. Also, they get rid of DPEs. You can bring DPE to your field and do what you need to do. Area 0, I didn't see this card that much this locals. I was missing the terraforming. I might put terraforming back, but I think it's a waste of a card if I'm honest. So yeah, I'm okay with this at the moment. 1 Hornet Drones, 1 multi-roll. Honestly, this card was MVP of the day. I resolved it so many times. I got engaged so many times using this card. It was absolutely crazy. Speaking of the 1 engage. Right, so let's play the hand traps. This is a very heavy hand trap reliant deck. I play a maximum of 15. I don't think I ever want to play more than that. So if you do the math, so there's about 40 cards in this deck, 39 if you take away the Upstart Goblin, which I also play. At 40 cards in the deck, the chance of me seeing at least 2 of my hand traps is about 63%, give or take, and it rises up to about 64% if you take into account the fact that I'm using Upstart Goblin. So it's not too bad, and I think this format, because it's such a quick format, you're not really grinding in this game, and unfortunately this deck, it can grind. I think you need at least 2 hand traps in this format to actually do something about some of the cards. 3 Ash, generic Ash, 3 Ghost Ogre. This card overperformed this weekend. You know, there was so many times where I Ghost Ogred some of the Tenny monsters, I Ghost Ogred the Synchro Tenny monsters, I Ghost Ogred the Fateful Adventure, the Token Generator, and also the Griffin as well, the Wandering Griffin. 3 Nibiru, people are not scared of this card, which makes no sense. Like every time I resolve Nibiru successfully, it pretty much ended their turn and they ended up on a very less optimal board. So 3 Nibiru, I think Nibiru is still a good card. I mean, people shouldn't be sleeping on it. Definitely run in your deck. I can see the argument for why it's not as effective this format, but if you get Nibiru and you get an Effect Veiler or a Ghost Ogre, chances are you're getting rid of their board. And the 3 Imperm, not much to say about that. I play the Fusion Destiny package, so 2 Fusion Destinies and the 2 bricks that go along with it. Yeah, there's not been many times I've summoned Dasher, but I have used Celestial's effect to get rid of cards, to basically draw cards. I have done that, so yeah. Okay, and the rest of the deck, so the 3 Cosmic Cyclones, honestly I think I might be cutting these out for something else. I literally only ran them because I was so scared of DPE Scythe Lock. I just didn't want to get Scythe locked at all. But this weekend I didn't really see that many Scythes, so nobody really resolved Scythe against me. And actually one time I was able to Cosmic Cyclone the Scythe Lock, So it didn't really work as the person planned it to work as. So that was pretty good for me. I play the reinforcement of the army, the one terraforming. To be honest, yeah, terraforming is just an extra card. I'm not too comfortable with it in my deck. It's not really done anything for me. The weekend, every time I've tried to resolve it, they've either drolled and lockbirded me, stopped me from drawing cards. It's not really something. I think I will definitely cut this out. But you Sky Striker players out there, do let me know what your thoughts on terraforming are. For me, I don't think it's really that viable. It does sort of act like another Ray, because you can get Area 0. But yeah, it's just not been that great for me, if I'm honest. And I play the one Upstart Goblin, so it's actually a 39 card deck. So I think this is really good. I've taken out the Metal Foes package. I didn't think it was that useful, to be honest. I just put 3 spells in my graveyard. You draw one. I didn't resolve it as much as I wanted to, so I kind of took it out. So for the extra deck, you have 3 Shizuku. If you're forced to go first, you technically just end on Shizuku. And at the best, you end on a Shizuku with DPE and some sort of negate. At the worst, you sort of just end on Shizuku and 1 or 2 negates. But the way this deck is made, with the numbers, if I'm going first, I sort of end with Shizuku and 2 negates at least in my hand, because I've got a 64% chance of actually drawing 2 hand traps. 3 Kagari. I was playing Master Duel and there's only 1 Kagari on there, and I didn't realize how good this card is. You always want to resolve Kagari, great your spells back, really good card. 2 Hayate, summon her, do the attack directly, grab your spell, put it into the grave, and then get it back with Kagari. That's usually the play. The one of Kaina, really good card, came up, stalls for a turn. Zeke, you grab one of their monsters with the Shark Cannon, turn it into Zeke and banish another monster. I'm running the Predator Plant and Anaconda. Until they ban this card, I'm going to run this card. Destroyer DPE is absolutely crazy. There was actually another Sky Striker player at the locals, and we actually had this conversation about DPE. And he plays a pure version, so he doesn't really play DPE. So we had this conversation, and yeah, there's so many pure Sky Striker players nowadays, but I think it synergizes so well with DPE, so why wouldn't you use it? But everyone's got their own opinion about DPE. I personally like DPE. I'm going to keep him in there. He's really good. And I play the Hulk, the Celine, and the Access Code. Access Code, I didn't summon it as much as I wished I could have this weekend, but when I did summon him, it kind of closed games for me. Okay, so that's the extra deck. So 40 deck main, extra deck 15. I will just show you my side deck now. The side deck is basically just geared for my locals, what I thought the locals would have. So let's just go through them. So 3 Lancia. Best hand trap, I might just put it in my main deck over Nib. Every time I had this and I was going second, I always had this in my hand. Every time I had it and I used it, I shotgunned it straight away. Unless I knew they were playing Gamma in their deck, so I kind of waited for them to do something and then shotgunned it. Token Collector, there wasn't that many people that played Tenny in my locals. There was some adventure package, Brave package in my in the locals, so I did side this in a couple of times. Resolved it once, amazing when it resolved. And yeah, guys, remember to read your cards. This guy comes back on the graveyard, which is crazy. 3 Droll. Yeah. Once if you hit them at the right point, it kind of just chokes them. So it is good to have. The 3 of Chalice. Now, Chalice is pretty much the droplet of this deck. Now, I do have droplets, but I didn't want to run droplets just because you got to send stuff. With Chalice, it's a 1-for-1. And I know you could do quick spell and then activate droplet, get rid of your quick spell, you get like a free negate, give or take. But Chalice was really good this format for me as well. In the locals, I was able to chalice a lot of things that normally wouldn't get chaliced. And the 3 of Raigeki. Honestly, these are locals, you just try things out. You want to see how good things are. So I tried out Raigeki. I didn't side it as much as I thought I would have. but you know, people have boards, and most of the time they have one negate. This sort of just clears boards out. But yeah, it didn't work that well this weekend, but hey ho, we learn. Notable cards, I wasn't running a Call by the Grave because people are focusing on negates this game, so I thought if I'm getting negated, I'm getting negated. That's all good. I didn't run the Twisters, mainly because I don't want to discard anything, and I think Cosmic is good. But this does come in handy against Prank Kids. You do want to see it versus Prank Kids. Yeah, that was the major change. Alright guys and girls of YouTube, so if you made it this far into the video, this is where I go through some of the options that you can have in this deck. Some options are better than others. I'll go through why I didn't use these particular options, or maybe why I want to use the options, or maybe why you can as well. So you have the Dark Charmer, Gloomy. This is an amazing card. In fact, I actually do want to put this card in my deck. I just don't know what to cut out at the moment. I might cut out the Selene package because it takes a Hulk Fiber Axe, and it has a Selene in it. So those are two things I can get rid of. Maybe put this one in. Everyone is using a Dark Monster. In fact, everyone's using DPE. So if you can sort of take the DPE and actually use it for links on them, this is really good in this deck, I believe. Okay, so the next bit is Artifact Scythe and Artifact Dagda. Honestly, I'm mixed feelings about this card. There's no honor in Yu-Gi-Oh! At the moment. If you want to be a scumbag, go ahead and be a scumbag. Konami allows you to be a scumbag, so I might actually add these into my deck because, you know, having Scythe on the field on the opponent's turn is amazing. Everyone uses extra decks except for maybe Floowandereeze, so I might think about putting this back in. As for the hand trap, why don't you use Gamma? Gamma is probably one of the best hand traps in the game. My only concern is with Gamma, he takes up the main monster zone. So if I Gamma on my turn, so say if I activate the engage and they have Ash and I bring him out, the problem is, because everything works backwards to my knowledge, because I have something in my main monster zone, that kind of messes up my Sky Striker plays. So yeah, it's a bit weird, Gamma. I would love to have him in my deck, but at the moment I just cannot see the synergy with the deck. Maybe somewhere out there knows what the synergy is like and get back to me, that'd be great. Right, so we have the all Forbidden Droplet. Why don't you use Forbidden Droplet? Honestly, I explained it. I rather have Chalice than Droplet just because I don't want to send stuff. I know you can combo activate Ray, then activate Droplet, sending Ray, and then you get everything back. But I do that with Area Zero anyway, and Droplet is really powerful, but Chalice does the same thing for me. But I might consider putting it back in. Triple Tactics Talent, this is definitely going into my deck because people play a mad, insane amount of hand traps in every deck nowadays, so you're always going to get hit by it. So I think this card is pretty live all the time, so I'm going to try this in the next locals and see how it goes. And then the Crossout Designator. I was actually thinking about running this package, but I don't want to run the hand traps that go along with it. I pretty much run every single hand trap that can go along with it, so I might think about putting this in. It's either going to be, for me, a Crossout Designator or Triple Tactics Talent package in my deck, and I'm probably going to have a run 2 of either one of these. I'm not going to run it through. And then Dimension Barrier. This is a weird card because it's pretty much like a going first card, and then you set it, and then depending on what they have, you can call it. I didn't run into much Sword Soul in my locals, but I did see some Sword Souls being played. But I've got Token Collector anyway, so it's not a big deal playing this. But I can see why it's useful. I just don't know if I would put it in. And then the There Can Be Only One. And honestly, guys, There Can Be Only One, you should definitely use it in your deck. I just cut it out because I wanted my deck to be a bit faster. But yeah, 100% you should be able to run this, especially against dragons, VWs, literally anything on the meta, and your deck escapes this pretty much. Just make sure that you're happy with what link monster you've got on the field before you do it, because all the links are machines and you can't legally try to summon another machine type, but you can just send this via your own DPE, so it's not that much of an issue for Sky Striker players. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed that video of the locals. I had a fun time with Sky Strikers. I'm going to continue with Sky Strikers for a bit. Where do I think Sky Strikers is at the moment in the meta? I think they're pretty good. There are some decks that are just clearly better, but that's always going to be the case, so you can't get salty about that. That's just the way Yu-Gi-Oh is. But at the moment, I think Sky Strikers are in a good place. Anyway, guys, thank you for watching the video. You know, remember to hit comment, subscribe, like the video. Any good, any bad feedback, let us know what we can do, and we'll try our best to improve. Thank you, and until next time, to be continued.